Hi, everybody. This is Mental Monday. So, new plan. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Mental Monday with your girl, Kendra. I'm here to talk to you today. The subject today is making friends with yourself and loving yourself. Um, so I want to touch bases on what I call self identification. And what that is knowing who you are, spending time with yourself, being able to identify, your personality, your traits, what you don't like, what you do like, and the parts of your existence that you feel is bad or you don't like spending time with. That's the part amongst the other parts of you that um, I would suggest making friends with, because that is a part of who you are. Um, and if you can't love on your flaws and you can't love on who you are, you don't even know how to love on who you are, how are you going to enter any situation if it just so happen to occur, to show up at your doorstep? How are you going to enter any situation with the clear head of knowing if this situation is right for you? Um, and what I mean by that is what I do is a lot. I do a lot of meditation. The reason being, and that's a big part of spending time with yourself, figuring out who you are, what you're doing, what you're thinking. How the negative views that you have of yourself, how to speak a little bit more kinder to yourself, how to work towards that self-identification where you start to love the whole you and not just parts of you. And it's also, I have to, speaking from a person with experience, I would say I'm like, what, 2 weeks sober from any narcotics that I was doing growing up, for since the age of 14 to currently now. And I gotta be honest with you and say it feels absolutely weird. It feel like something's wrong with me. It feels like I'm off or I'm missing a piece. But all that is your thought, your thought and your body craving and wanting that narcotic to feel a little bit more comfortable with, the uncomfortable or the unfamiliar or the experience of being sober. um I definitely would say it's not easy. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't think about not smoking. I'm not really a big drinker, but I have learned by spending time with myself that the only time that I do drink, and with therapists and everybody is like, hey, that observed me during my downtimes, during my good times, during like 5 6 years, and me just now familiarizing myself who I am and just being comfortable. I realize I don't drink unless I feel the world on my shoulders, or so many issues that I can't solve, or so many situations that are out of my reach for me to actually be able to change. Um, I do have to say, admittedly, me being direct, completely sober, it makes me feel good because I don't have that. I know I don't have that. It makes me feel like I have that drive that I can actually do it. That I'm actually doing it. I definitely would say, um, what it also has done for me as far as loving myself, spending time with myself soberly, is it made me realize a lot of people that I latched onto when I was unsober, or when I was broken, or when I wasn't accepting of me. It made me realize a lot of those people are not in my corner. And not, it's not to knock down all of the other people. Half of the people that I surround myself with, like my support group, They are, but it also helped me create boundaries and be okay with being alone, as well as not accepting anything just because it's convenient. A lot of us get to the point where we get so used to, you know, going about our lives, keeping ourselves busy, or occupying our times without having to spend time with each other. We tend to occupy our times with the wrong people, or the wrong items, or the wrong narcotics, or the wrong situation, because that's, it's unfortunately in our society we are taught, if you're uncomfortable with yourself, if you don't like yourself, if you don't like who you are, we are taught to be drinking, we are taught to smoke, we are taught to talk down to ourselves, we are taught to change our. But sometimes the bad habits that we assume that we have are not really bad, they're just a part of our personality. And in order for us to even think, consider that if we need to change that situation, we don't know if to change it or not, or if this is just something that somebody else told us. Oh, you have this. They nitpicked our part, that now we have their voices or their opinions living in our heads, and to the point where when we get sober, or we get long enough to be sober, those voices that we didn't acknowledge put a set a boundary and say, okay, this is you and this is how you feel, and if you feel this way, then we need to isolate. um, and that's part of creating boundaries, isolating yourself from negative people that nitpick your personality, nitpick who you are apart. Oh, you're not perfect, or you're this, or you're that. Those are people you don't want to spend time with. But because if we're not identifying self, if we're not practicing self-identification for ourselves, loving ourselves, befriending ourselves, talking better and nice to ourselves, we are not going to expect any. We don't have the expectation. We do not have the expectation to require that from others. um and I say that from experience, especially a person that came from a history of abuse, a history of disappointment, a history of being really, it was like me against the world, and being so angry with my environment and the people in it, and then turning around and allowing those people that wasn't in wasn't acting or speaking in the best interest of me to live in my head, in my head with me years on out, you know, and feeling like I was the problem, I was the issue, and ended up isolating myself, because that's the only time I got peace. That's the only time I felt, safe. That's the only time I felt validated, is when I was alone. To the point where as I got older, it hindered me. I got into a lot of unhealthy relationships because I never allowed myself to expose myself to healthy ones, because I still had, hypothetically speaking, and I still had people that has said so many negative things about me. I still have them and their opinions living in my head. I took a part of them with me as I grew up. Now that I'm grown, and now that I'm looking at myself soberly, or I'm just understanding and trying to figure out how to befriend me, how to love me, my flaws and my positivity. Um and definitely having to learn that soberly. I it's a big step for me. And it helps to know when you start to come and befriend yourself and be a little bit more nice to yourself, speak a little bit more kinder to yourself, acknowledge, become one with yourself, be friends with yourself. You start to realize that the voices and the opinions that were given to you or offered up to you were actually not yours to begin with. They were actually buttholes that, you know, oh, you ain't this, oh, you ain't that. Those was actually their issues and their identification with themselves, but they projected that shit onto you. and you couldn't identify because you were questioning yourself and you were already insecure in yourself, because you know this is why I say be really cautious and aware of who you surround yourself by. And unfortunately, as a young person, you can't always choose who is an influence or who's going to be around you. But you would wish and hope that the adult that's in charge, that's supposed to keep you safe, that's supposed to keep you, that you're supposed to go to, the person you're supposed to look up to, you will hope that they will be able to create that healthy circle for you as you grow or as you learn or as you figure out who you are as from a kid to a teen to an adult. But unfortunately, it's so we deal with so often that we have adults that's having kids, but we're having adults that's been broken because somebody else broke them. So you are experiencing as a child growing up the experience they have. Maybe it's 10 times worse, maybe it's not, but if they haven't got fixed or they haven't loved themselves, they haven't figured out what a healthy situation look like or a healthy support system look like or a healthy them look like, they're not going to be capable of giving that to you. And unfortunately, as you get older, you get stuck in the same cycle. You got two choices: either you can repeat what made you feel worse or didn't make you feel like you were validated or didn't make you feel relevant, or you decide, or you have the choice to change, isolate, and know that, hey, something's wrong with what I've been taught. Something's wrong with what I was forced to spend time with. Something's wrong with the people in my or the people or the people I associate with. Um, like for example, I got good support now, but growing up, even as I got older, I didn't really have good support until like 29, 31, and then I didn't even know that they were good support because they didn't know how to be supportive to me, or they didn't know how to make me aware, like, hey, Kendra, will you supportive? Or I didn't know how to accept it because I felt like everybody that was around me had a vendetta and I had to get mine, or I had to be on ice, or I had to be on eggshells. I had to be cautious because I didn't have unfortunately, I didn't grow up with the parents that created that trust where I felt safe enough to trust in others. I had to defend for myself. I had to get myself out of my own situations. So that caused a hindrance on me in the relationships of people that, yeah, they weren't healthy or they're going through their own stuff, but I wasn't able to acknowledge the goodness that they did give when they did try to give it, or the goodness that I gave to others. Um, we often come to a part in our life where we don't understand why we treat people so good, but they treat us like shit. And honestly, when I was in a cycle ward this last time, I was so mad that all these people that held it down for I've been loyal to them, in my opinion. But they wasn't giving me that support or that care that I wanted. So I was pissed. And I couldn't do anything about it. I was like, until it dawned on me, like, Kendra, why are you upset about somebody giving you what you ain't giving yourself? You can't expect and you can't hold people hostage for something that you refuse to give yourself, but you give it to others. When it comes to you giving it to yourself, you got about 17 excuses of why, or you just feel like it's somebody else's responsibility to show you the same affection that you showed them. It's not. And they ain't gonna do it because they're not you. They're not caring. They're not going to care as much as you're going to care. Why? Because they're not you. And I sat in that cycle ward and had to think about, you know what? instead of getting mad about what they ain't giving you, or what you feel like you're entitled to, or what you feel like you feel like people owe you, owe your damn self. Start the same friendship, the same loyalty, the same love, the same consideration, the same confidence, the same ride or die individual you was there for, that friend, that boyfriend, that loved one, that associate, that person you didn't even know how to treat. Be that person to yourself. And I had to say to myself, like, you know what? Fuck it. I see that other people that I've been riding down out of hell, and I've been a good person in my opinion to them, and they're not giving it back to me. Instead of getting mad at them because they're not giving it back to me, get mad at myself that I'm not giving it to me. And instead of getting mad at myself, change it. Because you can sit here and you can manifest and be mad all these years. I could have been doing this for myself. You still on this earth. You still got time to do the shit for yourself. So now that you know what they say, now that you know better, do better. So me in the psych ward, I was like, you know what? I'm getting all upset. I can't do shit. No matter how much I'm angry, no matter how many times I curse these people out that I love, that I've been held back for. I've been, the good Samaritan, the good person for them. No matter how much, I've been there and I feel like they owe me something. You know what I'm saying? I owe me something. And the same way I treat them, I'm going to start treating myself. Why? Because I have time to do it. Why? Because I deserve it too. Why? Because why sit here and have expectations for other people you ain't got for yourself? You know what I'm saying? We come out here and unfortunately society doesn't make it any easier by acknowledging things like that. They don't. It should all be taught and focused, especially in school, of kids growing up. It should be more talked about and more focused on, besides the basics that we need to live in order to get a job or whatever. The world needs to focus more on emotions, more on mental health, more on, because it's a lot of us in different nations and different situations going through a lot of shit. And a lot of the times it's based on our mental health. It's based on our emotional welfare, or our emotional being, or just being who we are and being able to understand and live with our own emotions and our own thoughts. A lot of us can't even do that. I definitely always will recommend meditation, because and whether it's meditation with affirmations, I would even, because I do meditation with affirmations where sometimes I can't find the words or the direct words to say, but it takes practice. And sometimes meditation with affirmations is a good practice on being able to make friends with yourself and speak kindly to yourself. We, like I said, we as a nation, we are for, if we don't live according to normal, it's like we're we're allowing other people to throw stones at us, but we're joining in, and nobody's getting help. Everybody's doing a judgment. I would say, we, as much as we want as humans, we can't always feel good. It's not always about feeling good. Um, I used to smoke a lot of marijuana because I didn't know my nerves were shot. This is even before I got on the right medication, and this is even after I got on the medication. My nerves were. I was like, oh my god, I can't live with myself. Oh, I can't stand myself. And what the marijuana did for me, and is it calmed and made me say fuck it to a lot of shit that I would be like, oh, this is the end of the world. We about to die. My personality sober and off of the medication that I'm on, it's very dramatic. It's very extreme. Everything is the end of the world. Everything instead of it being okay, let's find a solution. Let's stay calm. Let's work through it. It's oh my god. It could be like everything is on fire and I don't know how to get out. Hypothetically speaking, that's how my personality is. But what I came to find out was that having smoking marijuana didn't help it. It it didn't help it because I had to consistently keep going it, keep smoking, and my weed tolerance got higher, and I wasn't able to still cope. I ended up flipping out. As I told y'all, December 24th, 2021, I committed suicide and I was smoking weed. So it didn't help. You know what I'm saying? Throughout my life, I was smoking weed since the age of 14 throughout my life. Um, it's been a struggle with it. So it really didn't help. It made my personality go temporarily go smooth, go get on the level. But that was only for a couple hours. And then I had to roll to something else up and smoking again. You get what I'm saying? And then not to mention the financial drain that became on me because I was spending a lot of my income every 2 weeks or every week, 400 every week, on narcotics, on smoking because I didn't want to spend any time with myself. But what ended up happening also is that I was so caught up in the narcotic, I wasn't making healthy decisions for me. I was making decisions that were convenient at the time that I was going through whatever I was going through. But I wasn't really dealing with stuff. Yeah, I had therapy, but I wasn't honest with my therapist either. I wasn't telling her half of the stuff that I was going through having this in because I knew in my head I say if I say some real I was scared. If I say some hey, I want to kill you, I want to kill myself, or I want to kill you, or this and that, you know what I'm saying? I felt like, hey, she about to put me in a straitjacket, like I've been put in a straitjacket damn near my entire half of my life, or put in a cycle war half of my damn life. I didn't feel like nobody was real enough on this earth to be listening to me or listening to my true feelings. Because in my head, everybody was my enemy. Even no matter how nice you were to me, I still had something, I still had that untrustworthy. I still thought in my mind you had a vendetta. What do you want from me? Everybody wants something from me. What do you want from me too? Is what I looked at my therapist, and I had to realize too, going on, like Kendra, you're not doing nothing but hurting yourself. This therapist is here to organize your thoughts and teach you how to think healthy. But you're hindering yourself because you're not only lying to her, you're lying to yourself. You're in denial. And my denial got so, to be honest, you know what I'm saying? I was not on a consistent basis, but if I got away with it, I was tipsy and I didn't want to sleep over somebody's house. I was driving. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm clean, clear. I'm an angel because I'm not. You know what I'm saying? This you're talking and you're listening to somebody that been through shit or been through similar shit that you're going through, and know how it feel to be alone, be judged, always feeling like you ain't doing nothing right, always feeling like you're not good enough, always feeling like that opinion somebody else gave you that you live with now. You get what I'm saying? And the benefit of being sober, you get what I'm saying, is I'm able to identify the people that's full of shit and the people that's not. I'm able to spend time with myself and be like, okay, it's okay. It's okay if you not things ain't working out. Breathe, girl. That's what I have to tell my. I be having a boot camp. What do you call that? Camp sergeant myself. Like, hey, we about to do this meditation. We about to sit here and listen to this music. If it gets so worse for me, and I have the opportunity, I just take it. I just sometimes and turn the light off in my bathroom or in my whole entire house and just sit in a tub and soak with my negativity until I feel better, until I can sort it out. And I'm just sitting in the tub myself, just sorting out, all type of things as far as like, why do I feel this way? How can I feel better? How can everything be okay? We spend time, sometimes I'd rather not even do the music. Sometimes I just soak in my tub and soak in it and reassure myself because it is. And I do my meditation, and then I also invest in looking up, going to the library and looking up books or audios or whatnot have you, helps my personal development. Me get out of that sick mindset and unfulfilled, feeling like I am. Finding that middle ground of being okay. And I'm not going to tell you that what I'm saying to you today is going to be easy. No, the same steps it took, or just, being on them narcotics and feeling like, okay, I feel great while I'm high. But when I come down, I don't want to come down. So I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep getting high. The same, it took time to get that way. You weren't born with no marijuana in your mouth. The else's unhealthy interfered with your mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because as a baby and growing up, unless an adult tell you different, you as a baby in top of the world. But it takes another human being that doesn't know what being healthy is, and loving themselves and having given themselves the opportunity to. It takes that individual repeatedly, and a lot of the unhealthy in your life growing up, they don't know that they're trying to be or give you themselves. They didn't tell themselves to step out of that box that somebody else put them in. They didn't find that opening. They didn't say, hey, I'm more than what you tell me I am. Hey, I need to fight a little bit harder because I want more of me. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve better and more than what you're telling me I deserve, or what you had you or you were around them. What they did was they gave you what they were taught, because they didn't decide to unteach themselves, and nobody stopped them from teaching you wrongly or teaching themselves wrongly. They wasn't exposed to some healthy individual. You know what I'm saying? So friends with that good and that bad person soberly, taking one step at a time. When you talk bad to yourself, challenge your thoughts and say and figure out you. Because a lot of times how we speak to ourselves is based on somebody else's opinion about us. It was never ours to begin with, but we live with it for so long, we can't tell the difference. So that's where the meditation come in. That's where the being by yourself come in. That's where the getting off the narcotics and clearing your mind comes in, because you start to clear your mind, you start to view yourself in a different way. When you start to love yourself, when you start to like, you start to see through the bullshit of people that are coming through your door or coming at you, who want to be surrounding you and take some of your energy. You start to create that boundary of, hey, nah, healthy people and unhealthy people. You start to be okay with making decisions based on how you feel and what you feel is healthy for you. Can't no one in this world tell you what's best for you but you. I don't give a damn what they say or the mentor or nothing. Mentor can mentor you all day, but you know what's in the best interest of you. Why? Because you live with you. That mentor gives you suggestions all damn day long. I can give you suggestions all damn day long. But if you are not ready to open yourself up to loving yourself, to self-identification, identifying who you are, identifying what your values, what your flaws is, and loving yourself to that shit gonna rest on your shoulder because you're not okay with you. Figure out how to love yourself, figure out how to be okay with yourself, and figure out how to breathe through the shit and know that it's going to be okay. And know that even though it's taking longer for you to get better, love yourself, be friends with yourself, clear your mind, and figure out, your personality and what you want in your life, it's going to take as much time as it took to take something that it did growing for years to take somebody else's shit and talking bad about yourself. It's gonna take that long too. You get what I'm saying? It's not gonna be overnight. So you have to also come with being patient with yourself. You get what I'm saying? And that's how you know you loving yourself is even though you find yourself slip into that temporary mind you're in, even though you or still be there. After you get done, say okay. It's okay because it's time for your self-love. Take back and start self practicing self-identification for yourself. It's going to take time and soberly you'll start to see the things that you want that are appealing to you that you know that you deserve. You'll start to see appreciate that gratification because it's going to change your outlook on things. It's going to show you the healthy side of you, the one day growing up they were telling you and other people were telling you, or you could continue to help tell yourself. It's going to be the logical you that comes out. And it's going to show you and it's going to let you know and you're going to know. It's just going to be natural. It's going to be healthy. You're going to be able to turn down the assholes that you've been surrounding yourself around by a minute, for a minute. You're going to be able to say, no, I don't want this with confidence and be okay after you say it. And be like, I know what I want. I don't have to have an attitude. You're very modest about it, very humble, but it will come. And when it comes, you're going to feel fucking great. You're going to feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything for myself. So in closing, I say, and I suggest, I don't put it into my life. Research your own personal development. Practice meditation. Practice spending time with yourself soberly. Not under the influence, soberly. Figure out how to be friends with yourself. Practice how to talk nicer to yourself. Practice how to evict those people that don't belong, associate with your spirit. Practice how to detach them from you. And practice all that energy and all that stuff that you give to other people that you deserve to be given back from them. Practice doing that for yourself. And everything else is going to be going smooth. But it takes time. And be patient with yourself. Number one, be patient with yourself. But as always, you guys be great. You guys are great. Become greater because you deserve it. I close this with Mental Monday. You guys have a wonderful day. And yeah, bye. Bye.